Hi guys, happy Monday everybody. I hope that you've all had a great weekend. I love Mondays. It's always a new beginning, new chance to set good goals, have an awesome week, eat clean, exercise, do all the right stuff. You know, it all feels good on a Monday, doesn't it? It's like a new year, new week, new beginning, new month, whatever. It's all new, so we can really go for it. So today I am going to talk briefly about my top 10 fat loss tips. See how I say fat loss, not weight loss? Because the scales are not always your friend. You know, on my prep down to a show, I can lose 10% of my body fat, but sometimes the scales don't move. Sometimes the scales go up because I'm building good muscle tissue and burning fat. So I get heavier, but I get leaner. And I can see that I'm leaner because of the definition in the mirror, and I can see that I'm leaner because of how my clothes feel. So for me, I've had a pretty rough couple of weeks. I had my 60th birthday party, which was awesome. Sorry to go on about it, but it was awesome. And then I got sick straight afterwards. So I've had 2 weeks of being down with a virus. And I think the fact that I'd competed just over a month ago didn't help, because I was training 3 hours a day, not eating a lot, and of course immune function took a bit of a hit. So it's taken me the best part of 3 weeks to recover. So I'm a bit behind the 8 ball at the moment. This morning I weighed 62.4 and my body fat is sitting at about 21%. And I really want to be in the low 50s for this show, and around 10 or 12%. So whether I can still make it or not, I'm not sure. I'm only 8 weeks away, I think. But I'll do my damnedest and see how I go. I've got another photo shoot booked as well with Pete, so that's something to aim for. I've got a holiday booked because I thought I'd be going hard doing a show and I'd need one. So I probably really ought to get my shit together and step up and do it, hey, and stop procrastinating and do what I tell all of you guys to do. Just, yeah, get on and do it. So I had a really good week's training last week, despite still feeling a little bit wiped out, a little bit tired. I did 5 weight training sessions, so I'm on a 5-way split at the moment, which suits me really well. Really like to do that. So I did an hour to an hour and a half's weight training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I did 3 yoga sessions. Because I do a lot of weight training, I really need to stretch. So I did that. I did 3 runs, 2 short runs and 1 longer run. And I did a grit session on Friday evening, which was cool, but it was pretty hard on my knee. And I forget that I've had that big operation on my knee and it didn't like the sideways stuff that we did. So obviously I probably need to respect it a little bit more and look after it a bit more. So maybe I won't be doing grit next week, but I'll try and pick up another class or 2 somewhere during the week. So exercise really good. I just need to get my shit together and clean up my food somewhat, which leads me perfectly into my top 10 strategies. And I would say over everything, probably consistency is key. But my number 1 would be drink enough water. So every process in your body, from your saliva right the way through your GI tract, that turns your food into energy requires water. And if you're a little bit dehydrated, you slow all of those processes down. So therefore you slow your fat loss down. So drinking enough water is probably worth about 100 calories a day. So that's half a kilo of fat you can lose in a month just by drinking enough water. When I work it out on about 30 mils of water per kilo of body weight. So if I'm weighing 62 kilos, then 3 sixes are whatever they are, 18. So I need 2 litres, but then I'll drink another litre for my exercise. And I normally end up doing 3 to 4 litres a day. That's just normal for me. So that's optimum. It keeps my kidneys flushed out and it keeps me burning fat and it keeps me feeling good. Keeps my energy level up in the afternoon too. So water is number 1. If you drink your water cold, you actually burn more calories because your body has to bring it up to body temperature. So there is a slight advantage in drinking your water cold over drinking it room temperature or tepid. So a little bit for fat loss. So yeah, it's quite interesting. My number 2 would be to eat enough protein. So a lot of women don't eat enough protein, and protein has a really good thermogenic effect. So in other words, it creates heat when we break it down, which makes our body burn more calories. So eating protein is like putting fuel on the fire. If your metabolic rate is like a fire, eating protein is like putting petrol on that fire. And for me to lose weight effectively, I need to eat a little bit of protein every 3 to 3.5 hours. Keeps my blood sugar stable. It keeps putting fuel on the fire. Intermittent fasting doesn't work for me. If I don't eat often enough, my metabolic rate's already like a slug. It slows down even more, and I end up actually grabbing hold of body fat rather than burning it. So that would be water number 1, protein number 2. 3, fibrous veggies. So fibrous vegetables are hard for your body to break down. You're lucky if you get 25 calories out of a cupful, like a big cupful like that. That's my coffee mug. If that was full of fibrous veggies, you would be lucky if you got 25 calories out of that. In fact, you'd probably get more like 10 calories out of it by the time you've broken it down. But because your body has to break the cellulose from the plant cells down to get any carbohydrates out of it, it creates heat. Your body has to work really hard to break it down. If you eat a piece of white bread, your body does not have to work hard to get anything out of it. You know, you're starting to absorb carbohydrate as soon as the saliva starts to break down the white starch. It's starting to be absorbed through your cheek and into your bloodstream. But that doesn't happen with protein. So chicken breast doesn't get absorbed through your gums. And nor does celery, or carrots, or broccoli, or cabbage, or cauliflower. So all of those fibrous veggies, they have a really high nutrient content. They are very, very cancer protective, but they actually don't have very many calories. So they're not very calorie dense. You're lucky if you're getting 500 calories if you eat a whole pound of them. And that is somebody's rule. 500 calories a pound. Can't remember whose. Somebody's rule. So lots of fibrous veggies. They will not only keep you alive, but they will help to keep you lean. Get enough sleep, because if you're not getting enough sleep, you are going to produce cortisol, which engages your liver, and your liver then actually releases glucose because it knows your body is stressed and tired and not getting enough sleep. And that glucose will give you a blood sugar spike, which will give you an insulin reaction, which will then stop you burning fat as a fuel. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you are not going to burn a lot of fat. So getting good quality sleep is really important. And you'll see some people talk about sleep hygiene, and that's not about going to bed not having washed your armpits. That is about doing things like not having screen time before bed, so avoiding that blue light, so avoiding TV and your phone, any kind of screens prior to going to bed. It's about sleeping in a properly darkened room with the curtains drawn and no lights on. It's about avoiding caffeine from about 2 in the afternoon the day before. So there are things that you can do in setting up a really good routine around your sleep and sleeping patterns. That's what sleep hygiene means. And the better you are at doing that, the more quality sleep you will get, and therefore the more fat you will burn while you're awake. You want your sleep quality to be good, because when you're asleep, you release human growth hormone, which gets taken into your muscles and into your tissue beds to repair and replenish and create new cells. And while your body's doing that, it doesn't produce insulin. So human growth hormone actually suppresses insulin, which means that overnight is a really, really, really good time to burn fat, because you're lying flat, your body's not stressed, it's not going to go in survival mode. So you should be prioritizing putting your body into a situation where it can burn fat overnight while you're asleep. How easy is that? And that's another thing about that, not eating too many carbs at night and not eating processed carbohydrates at night. Because while your digestive system is coping with that, it's not shunting the blood out into the capillaries out to mend muscle fibers, which you've been working really hard to build in the gym, I hope. But it also, you then don't get that effect of insulin suppression, and therefore you block yourself in burning fat. You know, you can be burning fat from 1 in the morning through till 6 or 7 or 5, well, like me, whenever you get up. And so why miss that opportunity? So sleep, not only for the next day and that production of stress hormone, but also while you are actually asleep, is vitally important for fat loss. So a lot of my clients, especially menopausal or postmenopausal women who are really struggling to get enough sleep, that can be a big problem when we're trying to address why they're not burning the fat that they should be burning. So it's something that we often really work on. So getting enough sleep. So we got water, we got eat enough protein, eat enough fibrous veggies, we got get enough sleep. Number 5, train with weights. You can do cardio till you are blue in the face, but if you want to keep the fat off your body, particularly belly fat, off your body, you must train with weights. When you train with weights, you continue to burn, oh, hi, Chris. When you train with weights, you continue to burn more calories for 48 hours afterwards. When you do cardio, you continue to burn more calories for about 4 hours afterwards. So we want that burn in the muscle from tearing the muscle fibers. And when you train, and you train hard and you train well with weights, you change essentially how your body uses your food. You tear those muscle cells so that they start to listen to insulin again. So that instead of your food being stored around your middle as fat, it gets pulled into the muscle cell to refuel it and mend it. I just can't stress how important it is to train. I say train heavy, but actually more important is training with good form. You can actually train with weight if you're in a slow, controlled manner with good form. So you want to be getting into the weight room at least 3 or 4 times a week. Definitely 3, 4 if you can, to get the maximum benefits metabolically, you know? So you can reboot your metabolic rate back to where it was when you were in your 20s and your 30s by using weights. You can't do that with running. You can't do that with cycling. You know, from the age of 35 onwards, we are naturally constantly losing tissue if we don't get in some resistance training to turn that around and prevent it happening. The average woman from the age of 35 onwards loses half a kilo of muscle a year. Okay, and that half a kilo of muscle is live tissue that creates heat while you're sitting up in your chair, creates heat while you're in bed, and therefore when you're doing nothing, you're still burning more calories. Who wouldn't do that, you know? So it's vitally important, not only to keep your shape, but to keep your metabolism on fire, that you weight train. Okay, so now we have drink plenty of water, preferably clean, filtered water. We've got eat enough protein, preferably lean protein. We've got eat heaps of fibrous veggies. I cannot emphasize that one enough. We've got get enough sleep so that you allow your body to burn fat overnight and the next day. We've got train weights at least 3 to 4 times a week. First set is your warm up. Second set's a little bit harder. Third set, you could maybe get 2 or 3 more reps out. Fourth set is to failure, always. Okay, failure. Next, yes, do some cardio, but how much cardio are you going to do and when are you going to do it? High intensity cardio doesn't work for me. I struggle to build muscle. That's why my metabolism is slow. And if I do a lot of HIIT training, I just burn into that muscle that I've been trying so hard to build. So I'm better doing slow, steady state cardio. So I'll use the Stairmaster in the gym. I walk the dogs for an hour a day. I run, but I run slow. So it's slow, steady state. I'm not doing sprints because that doesn't work for my body. Some people, the odd high intensity interval training in works wonders. When you're 20, it works wonders. For my daughter who's ready for her wedding, best thing she can do. You know, she does that a week. It's awesome. But for me, not so good. That hard-earned muscle tissue takes a bashing every time I do it. So whilst that was fun, and I'm not very good at plyometrics, and I'm not very agile. I weight train, but I'm not very agile. And I thought it would be good for me to do a little bit of that kind of training once a week. But like I say, my don't like it, and I know that I don't really like it. But that's just me. That's just me. So cardio, slow, steady state. If you do your cardio first thing in the morning, you will burn fat calories. So if you do it on empty, when you've burnt off all the available carbohydrate, you've got not much glycogen stores left, then you do your cardio before breakfast, you will burn about 30% more fat than if you do that same cardio later in the day. The calories that you burn are the same whenever you do it, but the fat calories that you use do vary. If you can't do your cardio first thing in the morning on empty, then do it after your weight training. Don't do it the other way around. Don't do your cardio and then throw some weights around. Do a warm-up, then train with your weights. When you're training with your weights, you're using up your available glycogen. Then do your cardio straight into fat burning. Minimum you want to do is 20 minutes. So 20 minutes gets your body into a burning state, and you will then continue to burn more calories for about 4 hours after that cardio. Okay, so steady state after your weights or before breakfast. And your window for burning the most fat is between 20 minutes and 45 minutes. Between 45 minutes and an hour, not so much. So when you go over an hour, you better do that cardio actually into 2 lots, some in the morning and evening. This is for fat loss. I'm not talking about fitness, not talking about running marathons or anything else. I'm purely talking about doing cardio to get rid of body fat. Okay. For me, I keep my heart rate somewhere between 120 and 140 beats per minute when I'm doing my steady state cardio. And that has me dripping. And when you're burning fat, a byproduct of burning fat, 1 is carbon dioxide that you're breathing out, and 2 is water that you're sweating out. So you want to be sweating to know the fat burning. Okay, so we got drink plenty. Oh. Got deconnected. Trying to reconnect due to a poor wireless connection. Oh, am I? Oh, great. Thank you, Colette. Because it's saying on here, due to a poor wireless connection, your video has been paused. But that's great. Thank you, Colette. Okay, so cool. Thanks, Chris. It's lying to me. I don't know why it's doing that. Technology for you, hey. So we've got get enough protein. We've got eat heaps of fibrous veggies. We've got get enough sleep. We've got train weights 3 to 4 times a week. We've got do cardio, but do the kind of cardio at the right time. Next is eat whole grains. So by whole grains, I'm rolled oats, quinoa, maybe buckwheat, maybe bulgur wheat. Eat legumes and beans like chickpeas and black beans. This is really disconcerting because I can't myself just going around. Black beans and nuts and seeds. So all of those things, they're high in fiber. The nuts and seeds are high in fat, but they're high in good fat. So they're high in polyunsaturates. So they're going to keep you full. All of those things keep you full. Rolled oats are the best thing I know for lowering cholesterol. And because they're low glycemic, they feed out their glucose very, very slowly. So they keep you fuller for longer. Same with beans and chickpeas and lentils. All of those legumes, they're all a really, really slow release. So they keep you feeling full for a long time. They also keep your blood sugars even. And anything that keeps your blood sugars even suppresses your blood insulin, which allows you to burn fat as a fuel. You can eat those things. You can eat too many nuts and seeds because at 9 calories a gram, they're not cheap in calories. Okay, so it's very, like, if you're like me and you're deadly with jar of peanut butter, you can eat a day's worth of food with a spoon very quickly. Same if you're eating walnuts and almonds by the handful. You know, a serving size is about 12 almonds. You can eat too much and your calorie intake becomes too much, so you're way over that 500 calories for a pound that we were talking about before, and you're going to end up storing some of that as fat. And the same if I'm saying eat whole grains like quinoa and brown rice and wild rice. They're good for you, they're low glycemic, but they are fairly calorie dense. Whole grain pasta would be another one. And if you're having those with legumes, so if you're having black beans with rice, for instance, you're doubling up on the carbohydrates. So you've got to be full, portion control of those things, but they have a very high satiety. So a little bit like avocado would be another one. You know, one avocado is 350 calories, a lot of fat calories, but it's going to keep you full for a long time, and it's got lots of nutrients. The same, all of the other nuts and seeds and the legumes and they're all really, really high in cancer. So they're really important in your diet. They keep you full. They're hard for your body to break down. So again, you get the of food, which means you're increasing metabolism, eating the right thing at the right time. So they are important, but moderation is probably the key with those things. So where are we up to? We eat whole grains. Eat often. Now, I touched on this last week. I eat every 3.5 hours to keep my blood sugar stable. If I go longer than that, thing where my survival mechanism kicks in. If I don't eat for 5 or 6 hours, I eat too much because I get too hungry. But B, I get a big blood sugar spike, I know, because I test my fingers, and then I end up storing half of that meal as fat. So the intermittent fasting thing, it's great for women. I don't know that it's great for women of age, either approaching or through or the other side of menopause. I don't think it's always very helpful because our estrogen and our insulin are so closely linked. We need to eat in a way that keeps our blood sugars stable, because when our blood sugars are stable, our insulin's died down, we can burn fat as a fuel. Without it, we end up gaining that bad fat. So eat often. Everything I've said so far has been a do. So we've got do drink water, do eat protein, do eat fibrous veggies, do get enough sleep, do weight train, do cardio, do eat whole grains, legumes, etc. And do eat often, but don't eat processed food. That's the first point. So avoid anything that's in a box or a packet, because it's normally going to be over-processed. So half the digestive system practice is done for you. Your body doesn't have to work very hard at all to get calories out of that thing. It means you'll get a quick blood sugar spike, which means your insulin levels will come up, which means you'll go into fat storage. They're also full of salt and sugar and shit that your body cannot use. So your cells cannot use it to build a healthy, vibrant, strong you. They can't. Just can't, because it's crap. Stuff that's never supposed to have gone into the human body in the first place. So try and avoid processed foods. Do eat whole foods that are as close to nature as you can. You know, eat things as we were intended to eat things. So lower down the food chain, unprocessed. The last one, number 10, is do be consistent. And that is something that I've found as I age, I have to be more consistent. I cannot get away with what I used to get away with. I can't get away with missing the odd day training, and I can't get away with the odd glass of wine during the week or the odd bit of chocolate during the week. It just doesn't work anymore. I have to be really consistent. And if I want a glass of wine or I want a cheat, I just have it in one meal at the weekend. And if I do that and I get my weights in and I get my cardio in and I drink enough water and I eat enough protein and I eat every 3.5 hours, I can get my body very effectively burning fat as a fuel. Remember, I used to be 90 kilos. You know, I've had to learn how to do this for me. And I guess what I'm telling you is what has worked for me, but I'm very aware that when I see people that what works for me is not the same for everybody. However, a lot of the principles do hold true. And I would say to you, what you choose to do, particularly with your food, be consistent with it. You know, don't do keto one day, paleo the next day, and then a plant-based whole food the next day. You know, you have to give your body a chance. You've got to be consistent and stay with the same thing long enough to allow it to work. So don't jump around all over the place. Same with your training. You know, don't do circuit training one day and then hit the next day and then heavy weights the next day. Be consistent and give things enough time to work. Yes, it's good to switch it up. Yes, your body does get used to doing the same thing all of the time, but you need to consistently do something before you make those changes to change it up. So consistently drink your water, consistently drink enough protein, consistently train with weights 3 or 4 times a week, consistently think about your sleep hygiene, get enough sleep, eat enough fibrous veggies, eat enough whole grains, do your cardio at the right times and not too higher intensity. Allow it to be a fat burning cardio rather than a getting fit anaerobic type cardio, particularly if you're a woman of a certain age. Eat often, try eating every 3.5 hours. You're never hungry, you know, but you're keeping your metabolism going. You're putting load on the fire to keep your body burning fat as a fuel. Avoid anything that's in a packet. If you must have it in one treat meal a week. Put it all together so you get one insulin spike off it, not a little insulin spike every day. And most of all, be consistent. Do not judge your progress by the scales alone. Judge your progress by the fit of your clothes and maybe take some process shots. That's what I try and do. If I'm prepping for a show or something, I take a progress photo every week so I can see the changes happening, because the scales do not always reflect on how well I'm doing. So above all, enjoy it. Enjoy your training. Enjoy food prepping and cooking wonderful foods close to nature. Have a fabulous week and leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like more of on these sessions, what you'd like less of on these sessions, and we'll go from there. Have a great week, everybody. See you.